Charles T. Tart called it consensus.
If it is not in the media, it did not happen.
Short, I would say, if it's not in the media, then
if it did not happen, but it's in the media, we believe it has happened.
Or, you know, in the other state or whatever. And if you came and told them, they probably think you're a crank and wouldn't believe it. But you put it on CNN and it happened.
Yeah, but you put it on CNN and it's going to be a lie because they didn't tell you everything.
The moon landing, for instance.
So they're lying by omission.
It didn't happen.
It's what they didn't tell you
Edward Bernays, a master of propaganda,
about the truth
of the human race,
of a matter.
said, if we understand the mechanism and motives of the group mind,
that is withheld.
It is now possible to control and regiment the masses according to our will without them knowing it. It's not free.
So it doesn't matter what they're reporting to you may or may not be true.
Have anything to do with that. They're busy spending money to control.
That information is not as significant as that is what they're withholding from you.
As John D. Rockefeller said, people are yielding themselves with perfect docility to our molding hands. Bernays went on to say, the conscious and intelligent manipulation of organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in a democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power in our country. We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested largely by men we have never heard of. We are dominated by a relatively small number of persons. It is they who pull the wires which control the public mind and who harness social forces and contrive new ways to bind and guide the world. Erich Fromm, in his Anatomy of Human Destructiveness, a book I wish everybody would read, the sick individual finds himself at home with all other similarly sick individuals. The whole culture is geared to this kind of pathology. The result is that the average individual does not experience the separateness and isolation the fully schizophrenic person feels. He feels at ease amongst those who suffer from the same deformation.
In fact, it is not the fully sane person who feels isolated in the insane society, and he may suffer so much from the incapacity to communicate that it is he who may become psychotic.
And haven't we all experienced that? From the time we were born, I assume everyone in this room has experienced that. And I would also say this, that if you are sane enough to see the insanity, that's a damn good sign, because it means you're not insane. David Rockefeller said, for more than a century, ideological extremists at either end of the political spectrum have seized upon well-publicized incidents, such as my encounter with Castro, to attack the Rockefeller family for inordinate influence they claim we wield over American political and economic institutions.
Listen to this.
Some even believe that we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interest of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists, and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure, one world if you will. If that is the charge, I stand guilty, and I'm proud of it. They don't mind telling you.
They don't mind telling you.
You see, this country has never been a democracy. It's always been an aristocracy. You know, they just don't wear robes and ride down the middle of the street with silk slippers on and a big crown. Because if they did, we were sick of it, you see. When America got started, people knew all that. They thought they were getting away from that. So they kept quiet for about 100 years. Now they're just letting you know. Now they're just saying, okay, we're all through being quiet. Of course, anybody with a brain cell knew that it was an oligarchy, a plutocracy. But most of the people thought, no, it's a democracy. Now they're just telling you, no, it's not. We are royal blood, and we're going to treat you with a contemptuous way. Because you don't tell us what to do. We tell you how it is. And as Jung himself said, one of the greatest intellects that ever graced this planet, Carl Gustav Jung said, the larger a society or confederacy, the greater the amalgamation of collective, remember, as opposed to independence, collective factors which is typical of every large organization. The more aggravated the moral and spiritual degeneration of the individual. It's very simple.
It's very simple. Oh, I love the truth, don't you?
You've had glowing lights in this country.
You like glowing lights.
Warned you against it.
In this country that have warned you against it. Don't
find yourself.
Find yourself.
Be sovereign. Be strong.
Be sovereign. Be strong. Be independent. Be real. Be
How can you solve the needs of another when you don't even know what your own needs are? How can you live as a slave to the needs and approval of others? Stand up.
Stand up.
A person who came from the hells of hells, who saw the worst kind of tyranny in Russia. She said, if one values human life, one cannot value its destroyers. But wait a minute. We know that in a way we can't. Haven't we just talked about Freud? And that, you see, there is a pleasure in this destruction. The people who claim to like life do get a kick out of destruction, they are able to do so.
That's right.
The combined military expenditures of all the world's governments in 1987 were so large that all of the social programs of the United Nations could be financed for 300 years.
300 years. It's done deal easy.
So don't worry about cleaning up the mess and why is it the world.
For
it's
your
very simple to clean up the problems. You just get rid of the impediment that's stopping it.
Get rid of the impediment that's...
You don't dream up new ways of doing it. It's because there's an epidemic in our midst, a virus in our midst. There's a vulture let loose.
Now let's get out there and fight.
Another two books I will mention from the great psychologist Arnold Gruen. The Insanity of Normality.
The Insanity of Normality. The
betrayal
of the self.
Of autonomy.
The fear of autonomy in man and women.
And then we have to address this incredible mechanism. In the beginning we said, how is this accomplished?
How is this
How do they do it? How does the control of the mind, the government happen? Frank Herbert said fear is the mind killer. Right from here, Los Angeles.
Fear
the magician,
is the mind killer.
And occultist Manly Palmer Hall said to repress rebellion is to maintain the status quo, a condition which binds the mortal creature in the state of intellectual or physical slavery. But it is impossible to chain man merely by slaving his body. The mind also must be held, and to accomplish this, fear is the accepted weapon. The common man must fear life, fear death, fear God, fear the devil, and fear most his overlords, the keepers of his destiny. It's the master-slave. And it begins from the moment that you enter school. The teacher is a slave of somebody else. He's going to treat you like a slave.
There you go.
The false teacher.
Getting taught falsely.
And of course, not having any security within, that we're a jellyfish within, we're a miasma of mess.
A miasma of
then again, in comes the boss. In comes Big Daddy.
Use a miasma of mess.
Like it says right there.
Right there.
Novus Ordo Seclorum. There will be an order. But what kind of order will it be? It won't be an organic, natural order of discipline and passion you see in reality. No, it'll be the boot stamping in the face of humanity forever, as George Orwell said.
Ordo Seclorum.
We got George Bush fulfilling George Orwell's theories.
George Bush
Sr. said that if the American people had ever known the truth about what we Bushes have done to this nation, we would be chased down the streets and lynched.
Ooh.
He said that straight in an interview in 1992.
We're going to go search that right now.